Ukraine's military intelligence agency shot down 2 Russian Su-30 fighter jets using air-to-air missiles fired from Magura 7C drones near Novorossiysk on May 2, HUR Chief Kyrylo Budanov told the War Zone on May 3. The operation marks the first time in history that fighter jets have been downed by unmanned boats. Initially, reports confirmed the destruction of only 1 jet, but Budanov later clarified that 2 aircraft were hit. "It's a historical moment," he told the publication. Ukrainian forces destroyed a second Russian aircraft within 24 hours during a strike on the temporarily occupied Crimean peninsula, President Volodymyr Zelensky said on the evening of Saturday, May 3. "A brilliant downing of a Russian military aircraft by our naval drone, proof of Ukraine's capabilities. Our armed forces very precisely carried out an operation against military targets in Crimea, minus another, the second Russian aircraft in 1 day," Zelensky said. According to the president, Ukrainian strikes on occupied Crimea also destroyed Russian military depots. According to HUR, Group 13, a special operations unit within the agency, executed the strike. A video of the first downed Su-30 was released and widely shared on social media, although no visual evidence of the second strike has emerged. Budanov said the crew of the first jet survived and was rescued by a civilian vessel, while the second crew is believed to have been killed. The Magura 7 drone, deployed in this operation, is an air defense type of the Magura 5, which previously downed 2 Russian Mi-8 helicopters on December 31. Ukrainian forces noted that this was the world's first destruction of a fighter airplane by a naval drone. The Russian multi-role fighter, estimated to cost around $50 million, caught fire mid-air and crashed into the sea.
Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has declared a 3-day ceasefire on the front because he fears that the Ukrainian armed forces could ruin the Kremlin's Victory Day celebrations. At the same time, a short ceasefire is not appropriate for Ukraine right now. This opinion was expressed in an exclusive interview with Oboz Revitel by the executive director of the Ukrainian Center for Security and Cooperation, Dmytro Zmylo. He is convinced that the defense forces have the resources to congratulate the Russians on Red Square. The ceasefire is not appropriate now. As the President Volodymyr Zelensky said, the Russians are nervous that we will ruin their holiday. This is the main holiday of their empire, the main Sabbath, May 9th and Grandfather's Fort. This is already a separate religion in the Russian Federation. Therefore, they are afraid of new steps by Syrsky that this will happen under the sounds of sirens and explosions of Ukrainian drones, the expert explained. For the Russian leadership, May 9th should be a demonstration of strength and power before the world community. However, there is every chance that instead of a triumph, this will turn into national humiliation. The Kremlin is counting on simply crushing us, ignoring both Ukraine's proposal for a 30-day truce and the position of the United States. Okay, let's start with at least 30 days. But let's look for real mechanisms to monitor compliance with this ceasefire, because the last ceasefire assumed a 70% reduction in the use of drones, artillery and mortars because we destroyed the shells. And the ceasefire in the Black Sea was better ensured by the defense forces. As soon as it began to operate there, calibers again flew across our land from the Black Sea waters. Zmylo emphasized, if the West does not provide Ukraine with alternative options, such as financial support in exchange for a temporary refrain from striking Russian territory, then Kiev reserves the right to refuse such restrained actions. In the absence of constructive proposals, the consequences could be serious. We have all the resources to reach even Red Square, so maybe we won't hit it, because there's a lot of air defense there. But there will be booms and sirens will howl, and all the celebrations will have to be held in bunkers and bomb shelters, the expert summed up. Let us recall that on April the 28th, it became known that Vladimir Putin declared a ceasefire during the celebrations of the 80th anniversary of victory. It will begin at 0000 on the night of May the 7th to the 8th and end at 0000 hours on the night of May the 10th to the 11th. The decision to stop military actions was allegedly made based on humanitarian considerations. Russian Z-War correspondent Dmitry Steshin admitted that aggression against Ukraine has reached a dead end. The Russian army is practically not moving, paralyzed by Ukrainian drones. He made a frank statement on air at the Komsomolskaya Pravda radio station. The propagandist complained that the Russian offensive is effectively paralyzed. Ukraine is effectively holding back the aggressor's advance with the help of attack UAVs. Today, even 40 kilometers from the front line is not a safe rear for the occupiers. I couldn't get to Chasov Yar. An anti-tank mine was dropped from Baba Yaga in front of our buggy. Our guys are moving, but very slowly. Everything went into the small sky. Unfortunately, we are lagging behind. We launch 6 drones. The enemy launches 60 at them. This is a figure from a specific episode of the battle, Steshin said. He specified that wounded Russian attack aircraft have to wait weeks for evacuation. A minimum of 6 people are needed for one stretcher. 8 is better. To send armor for him means putting armor down. All drivers of the Russian armed forces are now potential suicide bombers, he said. Also, according to Steshin, the Russian army does not have effective electronic warfare systems to counter UAVs. The attack aircraft have stopped taking our electronic warfare systems with them on assault missions. There is no point in them, said the Z-War correspondent. Recall, Russian military is planning to increase the use of small squads on motorcycles and quad bikes at the front lines in Ukraine as it plans fresh offensives. According to the Ukrainian military and analysts of the conflict, Russian forces have used motorbikes and quads in several areas of the front lines in an effort to evade Ukrainian drones for more than a year. But the Institute for the Study of War in Washington says that the Russian military is likely developing a tactical doctrine for systematic offensive motorcycle usage and may be preparing to issue an increased number of motorcycles. Ukraine expects a major Russian offensive in the next few months as Moscow tries to capture more territory before any ceasefire agreement. The Ukrainian military calls the motorbike assaults banzai attacks. One Ukrainian commander, Andriy Otchenash, said earlier this month that the motorcycles are designed for a quick blitzkrieg. They can advance very quickly. Get behind the lines, he said, but losses on the Russian side were very high. It indicates that the enemy does not have a large amount of military offensive equipment, but on the other hand, it is an adaptation to the conditions of war, said the Ukrainian Center for Strategic Communication.